Welcome everyone. Today we have a very exciting boss slaying necromancer build. So this is the one-shot bone spirit necromancer build that my friend has tried on his second character. You saw that the first combo hit for about 40% of boss's HP, and on the second combo, what I want to show you guys is, this is actually pretty cool. He was able to two-shot the boss using the right combos. And wait for it. So yeah, the combination of the bone spirit and also the ability to do massive damage is actually really interesting. You can see that most of his clips are not even level 15, and he was already doing dungeons that's 35 levels above him. So coming over some additional replays of him fighting elites and also monsters. So currently he's fighting monsters about 35 levels above his current level, and the leveling process and also the ability to do damage for this necromancer for this season is actually incredible. And if you guys haven't tried necromancer or plan to try necromancer as your second character or starting character, this can be a really good leveling build. Now as you can see, the build have a lot of ways to control enemies with Bone Prison and also with Corpse Tendril. You can also be pushing enemies around. You'll be getting tons of blood orbs, and through blood orbs, you'll be dealing more damage with the bone spirit. Now one of the highlights of the build, of course, is the ability to group enemies together, and the build will utilize a lot of ability to do critical damage and also potentially one-shotting or two-shotting most of the enemies, and also including the boss. The build itself takes into consideration of a lot of damage multipliers, and what we do now is, let's dive into the build and let me explain some of the highlights. Now similar to all of the build, I'll provide you guys with this full replay of him progressing through the dungeon and also some of the highlights for his current skill tree, because at level 80 he's already incredibly strong. So coming over to the build's guide over here. Currently the necromancer is still level 80, but my friend has perked out all the way up to level 100, so if you guys plan to go into the end game for this build, it is definitely doable. Now briefly going through some of the combination of the skills and also passives. So one of the concepts of the build is that he will be gaining more blood orbs, and as he summons corpses, he gains more blood orbs. As he gets more blood orbs, he will be summoning bone spirit, and he will be gaining damage through blood orbs and also healing through blood orbs, of course. Together with the ability to be auto-casting the Corpse Tendril and also the ability to use blood waves to summon more blood orbs, his centerpiece will be dealing damage through the bone spirit. And a lot of combination of the spells will allow him to have a higher critical damage, have a higher critical chance with Corpse Tendril, and finally the ability to do more damage through the key passive, which allows him to do the maximum damage with high essence. Now the build will take into some of the defensive aspects like the increased armor over here with the Juggernaut, and he will be using at least 3 of the unique items. The Black River is also a really nice ability to allow him to deal increased damage and also to summon more corpses, which in turn will give him blood orbs that summons Bone Spirit. Now our build will be sacrificing all of the Necromancer minions, and you can see the sacrifices over here. After that, we'll be using Lightning Bolt and also Flash of Adrenaline. Now he have opted to go for the Everlight, which is a really nice combination of the Uber gems. But if you don't have this one or the Genesis gems, you can go with longer duration, shorter cooldowns and also safety guard for this combination. So you can switch out of Everlight for the lower cooldowns for the Flash of Adrenaline. Briefly going through the skill trees over here, he will be using Heap, which allows him to generate more corpses. Here 3 points will go into Healed Flash, which will give him more chance to get corpses, which in return give him blood orbs. He'll be triggering some of the key passives through the darkness spells, and also here he'll be dealing more damage by consuming corpses. Now as we go further, we have the Decrypify, which allows him to lower the cooldowns and also the ability to stun enemies. The centerpiece of the build and also the highest damage will be coming from the Bone Spirit, and this is when you can be dealing a lot of more Bone Spirit and also gaining more maximum essence as you go through this. Currently, we're using the ultimate for Blood Wave, which allows us to generate more blood orbs, which creates more Bone Spirit through the unique chest. And finally, we'll be sacrificing all of the skeleton minions to gain some more benefit. And we'll be going with the Ossified Essence, because Bone Spirit is a bone spell, and having more essence means you'll be enjoying more critical chance, more vulnerability, more damage, and everything that's related to the Bone Spirit and also the Bone build. Briefly going through the Paragon board, we'll be gaining additional damage and also additional fortify through blood orbs. And over here we'll be increasing our damage by consuming corpses, and we'll be increasing our own damage through the physical damage for the bone spirit. And over here, as we gain fortify, we'll be dealing more damage and also having damage reduction. After that, we'll be dealing more damage through vulnerable enemies with exploit. And finally, we'll be dealing more damage to essence, the glyph which allows us to do more critical damage. The build can definitely be improved with some of the legendary and also uber uniques, and one of the highlight will be the two-handed sword, I believe, to give us more increased damage with a grandfather through critical damage. Now briefly going through the skill rotations for this build. So right away as you come across enemies, what you want to do is you want to decryptify them to debuff them. You can be using your blood wave to push enemies through, you can be using your corpse tendril, or that can be casted automatically as your basic attack enemies. The key concept over here is to group enemies together and then cast your bone spirit, which allows you to pretty much make a massive explosion while casting the bone prison around them to give you additional buffs, additional essence, and also additional debuffs. Now the build itself will definitely take some time to get used to, and during this testing replay, my friend was showing us that sometimes it takes a while for you to get the combo right, and this is why he was testing with the boss. You can see that he's constantly stacking different damage multipliers, and by the time he gets the bone spirit out, it can deal massive damage. Now because the build up will take some time to hit the boss, so this is the tricky part. You always want to make sure you have the corpse tendril casted, and you always want to make sure the combination is correct. But by the time you get the hang of it, get the rotation correct, you'll be dealing a lot more damage through AOEs. And this was how he was able to pretty much two-shot the boss over here with a combination of the spells. I was pretty surprised over here. Let me try to see the damage numbers. So the damage number over here was at level 80, he did about 7.7 million damage with an overpowered critical hit, and that was the combination. Now it might not look big like 400 million hits, but keep in mind guys, he's only level 80, he doesn't have the right affixes, the right gears, and also the right glyphs. So everything is pretty much a mid-game leveling progress, and if you do want to try this build, I really do recommend, after level 60, after level 80, especially if it's your second character, or even if it's your first character, getting your hands on some of those unique items, and also the new Necromancer build can be very interesting for the Season 3.
I need more time. I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I need more time.